There's a move to make more land available for agricultural production. The disclosure tonight from the chairman of the board of the Barbados Agricultural and Development Marketing Corporation, Sean Tudor. He says some of the land is earmarked for local farmers.
In the next 20 months, we will place another 100 farmers in the land lease program. We will extend our support for livestock farmers with the cultivation of pasture lands and transferring the forage to the farmers. We will significantly expand our agro-processing operation as we seek to meet the domestic and, yes, the export demand, securing jobs for our employees and lifting others out of unemployment. We will continue the improvement and enhancement of the Ferry Valley site. We will expand the current facility for the farm input.
Mr. Tudor made the comments at the 20th anniversary service for the BAMC at the Christchurch Parish Church. In his sermon, Canon Austin Carrington expressed concern that Barbadian consumers seem to prefer goods and products made overseas to their own local products.
There is a tendency in our country, even now, as we approach 50 years of independence, to have more faith in produce and things from overseas than the things which we grow and produce locally. So, of course, this has to be a part of the development which must take place not only within the corporation, but further afield within our nation as we move along as a sovereign nation.
Well, in other news from the pulpit, a local cleric believes that the church needs to play a greater role in addressing exploitation of the elderly in Barbados. The Reverend Wayne Issacs expressed the view at a service at the St Pauls Anglican Church to mark the start of Senior Citizens Month. According to Reverend Issacs, ignoring the plight of the elderly would be against the biblical teachings and writings of the prophet Amos. Canon Issacs says instead of focusing on this group, the church is wasting time discussing such issues as homosexuality, which only continue to increase the injustices in society.
There are stories of senior citizens being forced to transfer title deeds to persons, and in some cases, giving the power of attorney to persons who use that power for personal gain and benefit. There are many stories of persons who prey on the aged, who are unable to give consent and defraud them of their property, their funds, and their possessions.
Well, legislation is coming that will set out the rights for decent working conditions for seafarers in Barbados. The legislation, known as the Seafarers Bill of Rights, will come some 7 years after Barbados ratified the Maritime Labour Convention in June 2006. Acting Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism and International Transport Richard Sealy says it will, for the first time, include workers on cruise ships.
Cruise ship workers will now have the right to a safe and secure workplace, fair terms of employment, decent living and working conditions, access to medical care, health protection, and welfare. That is significant for Barbados. We keep saying the cruise industry is indeed the one that we can look to get our people on board, but unfortunately, many of the practices on the cruise ships in the past have been suspect.
And Minister Sealy was speaking at the Day of Seafarer Awards ceremony on the Wickham Lewis Boardwalk in historic Bridgetown. Awards were presented to Captain George Ferguson, Richard Dirt Holder, Louis Ford and Ryan Hackett for their contribution to the development of the maritime industry. While paying tribute to the seafarers, Minister Sealy said the island will also be moving to ensure that ships registered here in Barbados are fully compliant with maritime labour conditions.
We continue to work feverishly, not only to get the framework right for our own ships registry and getting more vessels registered, but also to ensure that we are compliant with what is expected internationally in terms of the Maritime Labour Conventions. I think that it is important that we continue to acknowledge the contribution of the seafarers, and I have already told the Permanent Secretary that as we approach the 50th anniversary of independence, we have to do something even more significant for our seafarers.
Well, consumers will be paying slightly more for petroleum products as of tomorrow. The changes, which come into effect at midnight tonight, will see consumers having to pay 11 cents more for a litre of gasoline, 10 cents more for a litre of diesel, and 4 cents more for a litre of kerosene. Gasoline will now cost $3.37 a litre, diesel $2.80 per litre, and kerosene $1.83 a litre. With respect to liquefied petroleum gas, also known as bottled gas, the 100-pound cylinder has moved from $165.73 to $176.45. The 25-pound cylinder will now cost $49.21, up from $46.53. The 22-pound cylinder has increased to $43.47, up from $41.10, while the 20-pound cylinder has moved to $39.52, up from $37.36. News from the police force now, and the police have made a breakthrough in their investigation to the widely publicised burglary in Christchurch last week. Lakeisha Pyle of Scarborough complained to the media that her house had been burglarised on September 9th and police failed to respond. However, lawmen tonight say they have arrested and charged a 24-year-old man of no fixed place of abode in connection with that incident. He is 24-year-old Delano Ronaldo Walcott. Police Public Relations Officer Inspector David Welch says the man is expected to appear at the Oistins Magistrates Court tomorrow morning to answer to the charge. In the meantime, lawmen are searching for a man who they say is wanted for questioning in connection with a serious criminal matter. He's Adrian Ricardo Thomas, alias Sandman Thomas, and he's about 5 feet 10 inches tall, of slim build, and is described as being of black complexion. He has dark brown eyes, a flared nose, and wears a dreadlocked hairstyle. Mr. Thomas is advised that he can present himself to the police accompanied by an attorney at law of his choice, and any person who may know the whereabouts of Adrian Ricardo Thomas is asked to contact the police emergency hotline at telephone number 211 or the nearest police station. In the meantime, the hunt for 2 other men considered armed and dangerous continues tonight. Brian O'Neill Small, alias Brecky or Blecky, and Carlo de Ver Hinkson, alias Birdman, Shortman or Blackman, are being sought for questioning in connection with a serious criminal matter.
Hi, good evening. I'm Shane Jones with the Sports News. The 2013 David Thompson Memorial Football Classic kicked off this evening at Gall Hill in St. John. Before the action, there was the opening ceremony, and St. Philip North was adjudged the best team on parade. The defending champions City of Bridgetown are in action against Christchurch South in the opening game. Let's join the action live.
Skip over the second, successfully gets it to one of his players. Now, this is with Christchurch South, Mears, crunching tackle, but City, they win possession, only to hand it back to Christchurch South, who give it back to their opponents. I tell you what, lots of tackles coming fast and furious here.
So good work by Enrico Cave there, but final ball not of the quality necessary, and in the end deemed to not even be worthy of giving chase. But I believe that's Antonio Corbin, who's come in the second half for the City. And ultimately he's conceded. It looks like a free kick right down in the corner.
So, as we mentioned to you earlier, the first of a double header here on tonight. So there'll be a free kick deep inside their own half, Christchurch South. They'll try to get the ball as far forward as possible. Long ball down the left, and it goes out into touch, so it'll be a throw-in now to the City, headed in the opposite direction.
So that score, Christchurch South up 1-0. And of course, they scored that goal in the first half. And we can tell you that City of Bridgetown, they missed an opportunity to equalize early in the second, missing a penalty early in the second half. Well, tonight's second game, we'll see Hull St John take on Christchurch East. Sean the Sniper Cox has failed in his bid to win the WBF World Cruiserweight title. Last night in South Africa, Cox was totally outclassed by his opponent Danny Venter in the title bout, not even making it past the first round. Reports indicate that Venter had Cox in trouble, knocking him down in the first few seconds before wrapping up the contest with some powerful punches, forcing the referee to stop the fight. It lasted all of 1 minute and 42 seconds. This was the Sniper's second shot at a world title. His record now slips to 17-3, while Venter goes to 18-6. Trinidad and Tobago are off and running at the Champions League T20 in India. The Red Force won their opening game, beating Brisbane Heat by 25 runs in Ranchi. TNT sent in to bat made 135 for 9, with captain Dinesh Ramdin top scoring with 48. Kemar Roach took 1 for 29 for the Heat, while Alistair McDermott picked up 4 for 37. But it was Ravi Rampal who turned out to be the bowler of the day, ending with 4 for 14 from 3.4 overs to bowl out the Brisbane side for 110 in 18.4. Sunil Narayan and Red Emirates picked up 2 wickets each. Meanwhile, Dwayne Bravo and Jason Holder were on the winning side as the Chennai Super Kings defeated the Titans by 4 wickets. Bravo bagged 2 scalps as the Titans made 185 for 5. He then scored 38 as Chennai got up to 187 for 6 with 7 balls to spare. Defending champion Sagicor UWI stormed into the quarterfinals of this year's Sagicor General T20 Series after a comfortable 49-run win over Inch Transport MTW today at 3W's Oval. The visitors sent them in to bat. I was there for that innings.
After a late start due to some sharp showers, the opening batsmen emerged, Simon Natrum and Anthony Allen for UWI. And Natrum jump-started things, short one from Fabian Cox, dispatched to the square leg boundary. Lamar Breadman Clark to Allen now straight down the ground, 6 big ones. Natrum was the first man to go, big slug sweep to deep mid-wicket, and Cox took a really good catch off Kevin Giddens. Natrum gone for 19, 38 for 1. Nikolai Paris went soon after, not quite picking up this one from Cox. Gone LBW for 1. Check your eyes, par, 44 for 2 now. Then the captain, Kyle Corbin, went loose drive and an easy catch for Nicholas Clark. Another wicket for Giddens, Corbin out for 7. Yui losing wickets quickly. Allen trapped plumb in front by Kemio Bino for 25, 55 for 4 the score. Floyd Reefer was the next man in and he got right into Bino. Big 6 over long on. There's Reefer again, this time dispatching a long hop from Junior Holder to the ropes. Time for Kevin Hodge to join the party. Maximum off Curtis Green, bringing up the 100, 105 for 4. Holder to Reefer, 6 more over long on. He tried it the next ball and was caught by Ramon Clark for 35. Carlos Brathwaite came in and showed his strength. That's massive. Holder came around the wicket, next ball, made no difference. Another monster 6 from Brathwaite. Well, Akeem Dewar was the last man out. Sky and Green to Holder for 1 as Yui finished on 153 for 9 off their 20 overs.
Well, in reply, MTW could only muster 104 for 8 in their 20. In other results, the BDF Sports Program whipped YMPC by 4 wickets thanks to an unbeaten 84 by Marlon Welcome Goodman. Scores: YMPC 143 for 4, Shane Dorich 52, the BDF Sports Program 144 for 6. And at the Banks ground, despite both the home team and Republic Bank St Catherine scoring 149, Banks was penalised for a slow over rate, and that penalty was 2 overs and 18 runs to give St Catherine the win. Scores: Banks 149 for 7, St Catherine 149 for 9. There was no play in the game between Guardian General Barbados Youth and BRC BCL due to rain.